Everyone, welcome to the show. So the voting machine company called Smartmatic was given the green light to move their Fox defamation suit to trial. This is an even bigger case than the Dominion case. They're suing Fox News for over $2 billion. So the New York Supreme Court ruled on this matter last Friday. This was after Fox and some of their hosts, also attorneys Sidney Powell and Rudy Giuliani, had filed motions to dismiss this case. In their ruling, the court stated in part, quote, "This court finds that plaintiffs have adequately pleaded that their claims against Fox News have a sufficient basis in law." The court also used one of Fox's arguments against them in this ruling. They noted, quote, "Fox News attempts to distance itself from the allegedly defamatory statements made by Powell and Giuliani by claiming that it repeatedly asked those defendants for proof substantiating their accusations about plaintiffs, and they failed to produce any. However, this fact can also support plaintiffs' claim that Fox News had reason to suspect that what it was broadcasting was false, and nevertheless continued to allow Powell and Giuliani to appear on its network." It went on to say, quote, "Even assuming that Fox News did not intentionally allow this false narrative to be broadcasted, there is a substantial basis for plaintiffs' claim that at minimum, Fox News turned a blind eye to the litany of outrageous claims about plaintiffs, unprecedented in the American history of American elections, so inherently improbable that it evinced a reckless disregard for the truth." Further down in their filing, it states, quote, "Since Fox News allowed allegedly defamatory statements about SUSA, which is an abbreviation for the company, to be repeated on its network, a jury may therefore find that it acted with intent or reckless disregard of the truth." And quote, "At this nascent stage of the litigation, this court finds that the plaintiffs have pleaded facts sufficient to allow a jury to infer that Fox News acted with actual malice, since it conceivably had a high degree of awareness of falsity or serious doubts as to the truth of the statements made." So that was all part of the motion for Fox specifically to dismiss this case, which was obviously denied. The court then moved on to Maria Bartiromo's motion to remove her as a defendant. Now, she tried to argue that she was protected by the First Amendment and her rights to free speech. The court, however, rejected that argument, and they stated, quote, "Plaintiffs have adequately pleaded a substantial basis for their claim that Bartiromo acted with reckless disregard for the truth or falsity of the statement she made, and or with a high degree of belief that the said information was false." Next up was Lou Dobbs. He requests to dismiss himself as a plaintiff, and he argued that he believes he should be dismissed because he mentioned one time on air that Smartmatic denied the election fraud allegations. And he said, "Oh, I presented my audience with both sides." He also claimed that these were his opinions and that he was just sharing them on the show. So he can't be held accountable for sharing his opinion. As with Bartiromo, though, the court denied his request and said that he likely knew or should have known that the statements made on his show and by him were false, whether they were made by him or his guests. The court also said that Dobbs continued to disseminate false information about Smartmatic after they were presented with evidence to the contrary of what was being said on his show. In regard to Jeanine Pirro, the court did dismiss the case against her. And they said this was because she only mentioned Smartmatic once, and she noted that Donald Trump's attorneys were making allegations of election fraud against them. In all other statements she made on the matter, she didn't specifically call out Smartmatic. She just made election fraud statements in general. So the court is saying, doesn't necessarily make the case that she defamed this specific company. As for Sidney Powell, the charges against her were also dismissed. In this case, she successfully argued that there's no jurisdiction over her in the state of New York, which is where the lawsuit was filed. This is because Powell doesn't transact any business in New York. She doesn't have a lot of contacts there. Also, when she appeared on Fox News, she didn't physically appear in their New York studio. So Smartmatic can't sue her in that state. However, this is exactly what happened with Dominion and their defamation case against her. So Dominion has filed a separate lawsuit specifically against Powell in Washington, D.C. So hopefully Smartmatic will do the same. The court finally ruled on Rudy Giuliani's motion to dismiss. His claim was also denied. Giuliani had argued that he was disparaging a product, but that he didn't commit defamation. He also claimed that his words are protected speech under litigation privilege. As with the others, though, the court found that Giuliani's statements about Smartmatic, quote, adequately provide a substantial basis for its claim that he acted with actual malice insofar as he evinced a reckless disregard for the truth of his statements and or a high degree of belief that the said information was false. And then the court also noted that when Rudy Giuliani made these statements, he made them on Fox News. He wasn't in a courtroom. So this whole litigation argument is BS. So a preliminary conference will be held in May. I guess we can expect to see the trial, within the following months after that. We'll see the Dominion cases coming up first. I'm sure Smartmatic is going to be watching that every single moment to see what they come up with. And one thing that people are forgetting, this dollar amount that these companies have put on these cases, this is for damages. But the jury can award them even more. So between the, 1.6 billion from Fox and then the I think it's 2.4 billion or something for Smartmatic. And then if the jury decides to tack on additional compensation for these companies, it could really destroy Fox. I mean, they have a lot of money, but it's not an endless amount of cash. So anyway, guys, I'll let you know if I hear any more. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please donate or become a monthly supporter. Love you all. Take care, and I'll talk with you soon.